Now, staying with the highest court in the land, it'll also hear the IEC's appeal against the order of the Electoral Court that allowed former President Jacob Zuma to remain on the uMkhonto weSizwe party candidate list. The Electoral Court had previously dismissed the Electoral Commission's disqualification of Zuma following an objection against his candidature. The counter-application by former President Jacob Zuma for the recusal of 6 justices is the first matter that is expected to be heard in the Apex Court. In it, Zuma relies on Section 167, subsection 2 of the Constitution that stipulates that a matter before the Concourt must be heard by at least 8 justices. The court will also hear the appeal by the IEC. It'll have to determine whether a conviction and sentence against which there is no appeal is a conviction and sentence for the purposes of Section 47. The Concourt must determine if the Election Commission exceeded its powers when it implemented Section 47 and whether the Commission was biased in its application of the section in relation to Zuma. Now, for more on this, let's cross to our reporter, Canny Maphanga. She's in Braamfontein. Canny, it's going to be an exceptionally busy day at the Concourt. I can imagine you'll be watching over both of these cases. But first up is that one where we could possibly see the delay of the elections. What is the word around this one? And then, of course, it's the former president once again that's under the spotlight after that.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Leanne, and to the viewers at home. Quite a busy day for the Constitutional Court, as you've correctly stated. We'll first start with this very big matter by the ACT Party, the Labour Party, and the African Alliance of Social Democrats. Remember, recently, I think it was 2 days ago, that they tried to rejoin that race to the May polls, citing a failure in the OCNS system, and then asking the Constitutional Court to grant them that quote-unquote exemption in order for them to comply with Section 27 of the Electoral Act. So essentially what the court will be determining at 9:30 is that were they prohibited from complying with Section 27 of the Electoral Act due to this malfunction of the OCNS system as the applicants have contended. And if the Concourt finds that this is the case, then of course the consequence of that would be that the election timetable would have to be amended. And if it is amended, then it means that you open it up to the public again to inspect the list, to then make their objections, for the IEC to make its decisions, then there are appeals, and then of course you can expect subsequent court action. Now, if this process does take place, then you can expect, Leanne, that there would have to be a request of a postponement of the election date to accommodate this process to take place. So we'll hear first from the Constitutional Court at 9:30 this morning if that is the case, and if that is the case, then those are the consequences that the country can expect with regards to these 3 political parties. But of course, if their application is dismissed, then you can expect that those parties won't be able to contest in the 2024 general elections in the manner which they hoped. But we know that the ACT Party at least will appear on some of those provincial ballots. Now, once that matter is concluded, we'll then move to the main hearing of the day, which is the IEC's appeal against the Electoral Court order, which paved the way for the former president, Jacob Zuma, to remain on uMkhonto weSizwe's candidate party list. Now, this is a very important case because it not only touches on the current 2024 general elections, but it'll inform the way forward when you're dealing with a rare instance, such as the circumstances of the former president, when you have a candidate that is appearing on number 1 of the candidate list, but they have a conviction and sentence emanating from the Constitutional Courts, and by design of that judiciary, they are unable to appeal it. Now, the Electoral Court has found recently that because the sentence was not appealable, that the drafters of the Constitution recognize this right to appeal, and therefore Section 47, subsection 1E doesn't apply to the president. Now, we can expect lots of arguments that will deal with this issue and determine the way forward on the former president's eligibility. Now, I have seen earlier this morning that there was a sweep conducted in the court earlier this morning, so we can expect that the former president may be in attendance when that hearing kicks off at 10 a.m. And we'll continue to update you as we draw closer to that very important case ahead of the May elections. Over to you in studio.
All right, Canny, thank you very much. So 9:30, we can expect that to be handed down, that one judgment, the first one. So important day to keep a watch out in terms of the elections and what's happening there at the Constitutional Court.